Hey, BookTube Sean here, coming to you with my week in books. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot to update you on this week. I did not finish any books this week. I really haven't bought any, at least physical books this week. I've been working on a few books this week, so I'll talk about that. I'll do a little bit of a Kindle haul. I don't normally do that, but one or two of you have expressed interest in seeing what I've picked up on Kindle, so I'm going to try to start doing that a little bit more. So since I don't have a lot of content today, then I'll show you some Kindle books I've picked up over the past week and a half or so. And then I want to talk a little bit about my format and what you guys think, and some ideas I have, and I want to see what you guys think of them. Just possibly breaking things up a little bit more. But first of all, I want to send out a big thank you to Derby Lane at Derby Lane Reading. She gave me a very unexpected, super nice shout out in her Booktuber shoutouts video, which I'll link underneath. So to any of you who have come to me through that shout out, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. And then Robyn at Driftless Reader also gave me kind of a return shout out in her Booktuber shout out video just this morning. I think that's when it went. It's when I saw it was this morning. So thank you, Robyn, for that as well. And if you have come to me from that, welcome. I'm happy to have you all. Sorry, I don't have a whole lot to say in this one for you. So the books I've been working on, if you've seen my previous videos, I've been buddy reading The Blade Itself with Julia, the girl in a book, and I made a little bit of progress on that this week. I got about halfway through it, and haven't read much this last part of the week. I read pretty good on Monday and Tuesday, made some good progress, and then Wednesday night I played Stardew Valley all night, and Thursday I spent the night hanging out with my wife because it was her only night home this week. Friday night I got sucked down the BookTube rabbit hole of checking out videos from Booktuber shoutout videos. Got a little bit of reading in after that before my wife got home from the play. Last night I went to see the play that she's assistant directing, and it was really good. And today I'm filming, so I don't know how much I will get even read today before she comes home from the matinee. So, yeah, so I was, like I said, Blade Itself, I was working on that. Friday night I picked up, I was in the mood for a cozy, so I picked up On What Grounds by Cleo Coyle. And I mentioned this in my I Sat Rat, I Suck at Readathon TBR that also went up today. That Courtney Courtagonist will be very happy that I picked this up. Read about 4 or 5 chapters of it Friday night, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's a murder mystery set in a coffee house. And there's a lot of description about different types of coffee in it, so that's kind of it's cool. But I've also kind of given up coffee. I've kind of switched to tea because coffee was really messing with the acidity in coffee was really messing with my stomach and my reflux. And since I've switched to tea, I've had far less problems. But this does make me crave coffee a little bit, so there's aspect of that to it. But I am really enjoying the writing in this, and as I mentioned before, cozy mysteries are kind of my my guilty pleasure reads, and hopefully I'll finish this up this week because I read cozies pretty fast. And I also picked up, I don't know how fast I'll get through it. I was just reading it to check it out a little bit, but I kind of got sucked into the writing. I picked up The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. The writing, I picked it up kind of at the end of the night, so I was getting kind of tired, so I didn't read very far, but once I started reading it, I was having trouble just kind of stopping until my eyes were getting heavy and I needed to go to sleep, which was about 18 pages in, but I still don't know a whole lot about it, but I've heard some great things about it, and I already kind of see why I've heard such good things about this book, because the writing so far, it is great. It sucked me right in. And I also finally picked The Stone Sky back up this week. Got another chapter into that. So I'm hoping to continue on with that and finally finish this one up. I don't know if it'll be this week because I don't know what my reading time is going to be like the next week. It's going to be interesting because my wife's going to be home more. And like I've said before, I tend not to get a lot of reading time when she's home because she's not a reader herself. So I feel bad if I just want to read and she doesn't have much else to do but like watch TV or something. I don't know. It's tough to get reading in when I'm not by myself. But I also have been reading the Decameron a little bit this week. I got through the introduction to day one, and all these little tabs are the markers for the 10 day one stories. So some of them are really short. So like I said, I'm just slowly working on this one. I'm not going to finish this one this month for the whole hashtag Decamerama readathon, but it was an excuse to pick it up. And I'll probably be slowly working on this most of the last part of this year. But Kindle books that I've picked up over the past week, I'm kind of going to show you on my tablet screen, so sorry for any glare. And we're going to try this. First one I picked up was King's Dragon by Kate Elliott. This is the first book in her Crown of Stars epic fantasy series. It's a series that I have been interested in reading for a very long time. When I was a kid, I belonged to the science fiction book club. Some of you might remember that. Some of you SFF booktubers might remember that, especially Thomas at SFF 180. He might remember that. Maybe some other people might know what that is. But I had one or two books of the series through that, but they weren't like the beginning books. They were like the later books in the series, so I always wanted to go and start the series, and I never did. And it was $1.99 on Kindle, so I went ahead and picked it up, and hopefully get started in that series. Because I've met Kate Elliott, and she's great. She's just a phenomenal person, and I really want to start reading some of her books. Next thing I picked up was Turning Point. By Lisanne Norman. I picked this up. This is the first book of a long-running sci-fi series. I picked this up because I saw on Thomas's mailbag he received the most current book in the series. And so I looked up the series, and the first book was $1.99, so I went ahead and picked it up, figured I'd check it out. I really don't know anything about it, but I just wanted to check it out. Next one I picked up is called The Readaholics and the Falcon Fiasco by Laura De Silvero. It is a cozy mystery. It's the first in a new series. It's a book club mystery. I don't remember where I saw this at. Might have been Courtney's channel on Courtagonist. I don't remember where I saw this at, but it seemed interesting and it was cheap, so I grabbed it. I picked up Age of Assassins by R.J. Barker. I think this was $3.99 or $4.99. Sorry about the glare there. This is first in a new fantasy series that I've heard really good things about. I know Becky at Beck's Books really enjoyed this book. So for the price, I've been wanting to check it out, so I picked it up. Next one I picked up was Strange Practice by Vivian Shaw. This was on sale for $3.99. It's one I've been interested in since it came out, and it's just kind of a humorous monster book. It's the main character's name is Dr. Greta Helsing, and she is a doctor to vampires and werewolves and that. It sounds kind of cute. I might be buddy reading this with Elliot Brooks late in October. I don't know. We talked about it a little bit, but haven't said anything firm yet. So possibly be buddy reading that with her. The next one I picked up was The Copper Promise by Jen Williams. This was $1.99, and it's a fantasy series I've heard a little bit about. I've seen the books on Thomas's mailbags. And and I've just kind of been interested to check it out. So for $1.99, I picked that up. I picked up The Curious Affair of the Somnambulist and the Psychic Thief by Lisa Tuttle. This is the first book of a series called The Case Books of Jefferson and Lane. I picked this up because the second book is on NetGalley right now, and it's kind of sounded interesting, but I wanted to read the first one before I requested the second one, requested the galley of the second one, but I honestly don't know if I'm going to get to it or not before the second one comes out, before I could, run out of time to request the galley. But it did sound interesting, so I wanted to pick it up anyway. The Fold by Peter Clines. I don't know a lot about it, but this is a book I had heard some really good things about, and I've been interested in checking out for a while, so I went ahead and picked that up. It was $1.99. Iris Murdoch, The Sea. This is a Man Booker winner from, I don't know, at least a decade or two ago, I think. Maybe longer, because it's a Penguin Classic, so it's got to be at least a couple decades longer. But that's kind of why I picked it up, because it's a old Man Booker winner, and I wanted to check it out at some point. So for $1.99, excuse me, for $1.99, I figured at some point I'll get to it. You guys know I am a fan of the horror author Anya Alborn, and her Within These Walls was a couple bucks on Kindle the other day. I think it still is. So you can, if you're interested, you can check that out. I just picked it up because it's an Anya Alborn book. Range of Ghosts by Elizabeth Bear is the first book in a series of hers that I heard Becky at Beck's Books talk about in one of her recent videos. She was talking about the series, and she was going to be picking this series back up, and she said she was enjoying it. So since the first book was only a couple bucks, I picked it up. And then The Iron Ghost by Jen Williams. It's the second book of, it's the sequel to The Copper Promise. So it's the second book in that series. And then Twist in Time, but you can't see that one very well. Twist in Time by Julie McElwain. This is the second book in her Murder in Time series, which I haven't read Murder in Time, but I have Murder in Time, and it's about an female FBI agent who gets sucked back in time and has to solve a murder mystery back there. And in this book, she's still stuck in that time and is trying to get home, but there's another murder mystery to solve. I don't even know if I like the first book, but for $1.99, I figured I'd pick up the second book. That way, if I do like the first book, I already have the second book and don't got to pay more for it. But that's the Kindle books I've picked up over the past week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. That took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take. But the other thing I want to bring up is I've been thinking about a little bit this morning, especially since I didn't have a whole lot to talk about as far as what I've read this week. I wanted to ask you guys if you like this format that I've been doing of covering everything, what I've read, what I want to read, covering it all in one video once a week, or if you prefer that more broken up, like doing like a M reading or what I've read, covering just what in one video what I've read, and thinking of picking up or currently have in progress, and then doing separate videos for any hauls I might have, library hauls, purchases, Kindle. If you'd rather those be separated out into their own videos. I've also been thinking of doing videos about, especially since I'm trying to cut down on the book buying, just spending a little bit too much money on it. Even the Kindle book buying, I'm trying to cut cut down on that and use the library more. So it'd probably be more library hauls than purchase hauls. And even a lot of the library books I don't get to. I just check out a bunch of ones that that sound interesting, and what I get to is what I get to. And let's see. But I want to know if you guys would rather me separate out haul stuff and just in the weekly videos just kind of cover what I finished, what I got in progress, and what I have on the horizon. But I've also been thinking about doing videos of what I have seen on other booktube channels or have come across that I have on my radar, kind of like an on my radar video series or something, of books that I haven't purchased, I haven't checked out from the library, but they are ones I would like to get to at some point. They sound interesting, and I'm putting them on my radar to purchase at some point or to check out from the library at some point. So I want to see what you guys think about that idea, and if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think about those ideas. I'm thinking if I break it up a little bit more like that. I can do shorter videos. I'm already at 16 minutes on this one. I can get shorter videos done. They'll upload faster. It takes me 4 or 5 hours to upload these weekend books. It'll save room on my hard drive because it won't be multiple gigs of video file. And I can get more content out during the week. When I do everything in one video, I kind of struggle to come up with content to put out like in the middle part of the week. And I want to get more video. I want to get at least 2 or 3 videos out a week, because it gives me more opportunity to interact with you guys in the comments. And that's one of the things I love about doing BookTube, is interacting with you guys and making friends with you. So, like I said, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read any of those books that I showed and what you thought of them, or if any of them sound interesting to you. And I will see you all in my next video. I wish you all good reading.